using a new camera, so my eyes don't look like devil eyes anymore. Hey everybody, and welcome to my second update video for the Bloodlines read-along I am doing with Tameka. So I'm about 214 pages or 14 chapters into the book, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really excited because the pace has picked up quite a bit. A lot of my questions from the last video have been answered. I do have a few other ones that have popped up. Other than that, I'm genuinely happy with the way the story is going so far. I didn't think I could meet a more annoying character than Sydney, but we did kind of get to see more of Keith's personality. I think he's bipolar, to be honest with you guys. I think Keith's bipolar. That's all I can really say about the book without spoiling anything in this kind of section. So if you haven't read through chapter 14, I would kind of leave now. Or if you haven't read the book at all, I would leave now. If you have other opinions or you want to share your opinions, leave them in the comment section below. Once you've read the book, come back and let me know how you like it. I like to hear other people's opinions on things, and I'd really like to hear everybody's. But I am going to move on into kind of a spoilery section, so avert your ears and eyes if you haven't read up to where I am at.
Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers.
Okay, so we are about to spoil the crap out of this. There are two really big questions that I had in the last video that were answered in this section. The first question I had was why everyone was thinking that the golden lily tattoo on Sydney's face, why they thought that it gave her hyper-intelligence. She finally gets with a couple girls that can explain to her what these tattoos do. First of all, after reading the explanation of these tattoos, I would equate them to kind of like drugs, basically. Because that's a pretty big problem in a lot of schools, it's drugs. And so it kind of parallels that kind of high school theme, I guess. The first kind of tattoo that is explained is called a celestial tattoo. This tattoo is kind of coppery, metallic-y in color. It kind of gives off basically like a high. So I would kind of assimilate this to kind of a weed effect. The second tattoo that a person is able to get is called a steel tattoo. And this tattoo is a metallic silver in color, and it seems to increase athletic ability. So I'm going to say that basically it's the equivalent of a steroid. So after Sydney is kind of informed about what these tattoos do, she becomes more curious about them, about their composition, what makes them up, how they're able to affect people like that. I feel like this is going to become a big part of the rest of the book, and that we're going to learn more about these tattoos and how they work in the latter half of this book. The second big question that I had kind of brought up in the last video was whether Adrian and Jill were bonded, and that question is answered by Jill. They are bonded. Adrian kind of got himself into some trouble, which isn't, surprising for Adrian at all. But Jill does come out to Sydney and say, yeah, we're bonded because we need to go get Adrian. She finally just has to tell Sydney before Sydney will do anything to help Adrian or help her. So those were the two big questions, and they were finally answered. So one of the first new observations I have is that Sydney has become more aware of how she looks and how she feels about what Adrian thinks of her. And she is starting to worry more about it. So I'm starting to see the development of a relationship there. I can't wait to see how it progresses. Hopefully Adrian can help her with some character growth, as well as her helping Adrian with some of his character growth, because we all know Adrian needs to grow up. And he kind of needs to move on and move through this heartbreak after Rose. And I feel like Sydney is going to be the person that Rose was talking about in the final books of the Vampire Academy series when she breaks it off with Adrian. So that's kind of the first thing I noticed. The second thing about Sydney that I noticed noticed, and it made me kind of irritated with her, I guess, because she's been around Moroi enough now that she knows that they like to use their magic if they can. But she seems to still have this, like, crippling fear. Like, it stops her where she is and just scares the crap out of her when Jill starts to use water magic when they go to on a little mini golf outing with the whole lot of them. And it's to the point with Sydney that she should realize that Moroi are going to use their magic. She knows they have it. Yes, it can frighten her a little bit, scare her a little bit, but this should not be the crippling fear she had. This shouldn't be her big fear. And I feel like with everything that she's seen, this seems like a petty fear. I don't know. It just kind of annoyed me a little bit that she's still really scared of Moroi magic. There's also another relationship that is developing. Kind of a love triangle. It seems to be developing, which, you know, any YA novel, what would it be without a love triangle? Wouldn't be a YA novel, that's for sure. So not only are we just seeing a relationship development start between Adrian and Sydney, we are also kind of starting to see a love triangle kind of start to develop between Jill, Micah, and Lee. Micah, we can tell that he kind of has a thing for Jill. He's started really stepping up to take care of her after PE class when she's about to pass out because of the sun and dehydration, and she's a vampire. And he's trying to come up with some suggestions and help her through this time because of her skin allergy. And then we know that Lee likes Jill because he just comes out and says it. Basically, Sydney and Adrian are having a conversation. Lee joins the conversation and goes, oh, hey, well, if you don't really want the human kid with her, I'll date her. I like her a lot. Which kind of irritates Adrian a lot, which is really funny. But so that's that kind of love triangle, the YA love triangle that you get in almost every young adult novel, has kind of started to develop. In the Vampire Academy series, it was Rose, Adrian, and Dimitri. Now in this one, it is Jill, Micah, and Lee. We also, in this kind of section of the book, are seeing a lot more of Clarence, who is the Moroi that lives in Palm Springs, that is willing to share his feeder with Jill and Adrian. And we see that we kind of see a little bit more into his mind. He's kind of lost it a little bit, which is understandable. His niece was killed, which he thinks that she was killed by a vampire hunter, while everyone else is just saying it was a Strigoi attack. He has valid reasons to think that it was a vampire hunter attack as opposed to Strigoi attack, but nonetheless it has kind of affected his mental stability. But we can see that he is very, very protective now over Jill and over Sydney, because he doesn't want to see the same fate happen to them. So he's very adamant about their safety and Eddie teaching them to defend themselves if the need ever arises. I'm hoping to see a little bit more of Clarence, and I want to kind of know more of his backstory because he seems like a pretty interesting character. This kind of segues us into the new enemy that might be in this series, which is this vampire hunters. I'm thinking, maybe Buffy or Blade or Van Helsing will show up. The reason Clarence is questioned that his niece's murder wasn't a Strigoi murder is because her throat was slit. She wasn't drained of blood. A little bit was taken, but her throat was slit. So he thinks that it's a vampire hunter that's trying to hide themselves by making it look like a Strigoi attack. So I'm thinking that this is going to be something that ends up developing throughout the entire series. I'm really interested to see what Richelle Mead's version of a vampire hunter is. I'm just really excited to see how the rest of this book plays out. I will try to get the next one up by Friday. If not, it'll be up Saturday like this one. If you have any other suggestions on videos for me to do, I would really appreciate any feedback whatsoever in the comments below. Tweet me, send me pictures on Instagram. I put a lot of book porn up there. I will put all of TEMECKA'S essentials in the little doobly-doo down there. I will also link to my first update video and her first update video. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, wonderful day, whatever it is for you. I will see you in my next video.